Welcome to Chronic Combat Conversations, the interview series with your hosts, TB Scouting MMA and
The Guru, back again with special guest Kyle the Monster Nelson, coming off of two back-to-back wins in the UFC. He's scheduled to face Bill Algeo March 30th in Atlantic City. Do not want to mess that date up. Do not want to miss that date. Kyle, what's going on, man? Good to meet you.
Hey, yeah, thanks for having me on. Yeah, we're just in the middle of training camp. We're getting close, I think just like 5.5 weeks out now. So, yeah, I feel good. Weight's good. So, yeah, I'm going to be more than ready March 30th.
Kyle. Your beard is looking in absolute phenomenal shape. How are you feeling with this training camp? How's it been going? Where have you been for camp so far? Give us a breakdown.
Yeah, so, yeah, I got the notice for this fight a little bit ago, maybe like 4 weeks ago. So it's been a solid training camp. I'm splitting my time between Muskoka Martial Arts, so my gym in like Gravenhurst, kind of close to my hometown, House of Champions down in Stony Creek, and then I also travel over to Niagara Top Team a couple times a week to work with those guys as well.
Are you getting specific looks at specific gyms, or what's that look like?
Yeah, so like Niagara Top Team, they have. I mean, it's a little more heavy wrestling. House of Champions, it's a little bit more Thai, like Muay Thai strikers and stuff like that. But I've got good partners at both gyms. Obviously finding guys that are a similar, height and reach and stuff as Bill, and then that have kind of close to his style of striking. Kind of coming. I'm not sure if he was like a karate or taekwondo background, but a little bit more kind of bladed and a stance and a style like that.
Yeah, Bill
Great,
Algeo,
yeah.
I'd imagine, is a tough person to prepare for because he's really quite unorthodox in that rubber chin. So I was definitely curious to see if you were looking to address anything specific in your camp.
Yeah, I mean, like my last few fights. My last fight, Fernando Padilla, was another taller, kind of lankier guy. Then I fought like Jai Herbert, like a year and a half ago, another tall guy. That was at 155, so he was a little bit, a little bit bigger. But I've prepared and fought lots of tall guys. They were all strikers, obviously slightly different styles. But yeah, I mean, I've already prepared for similar opponents, and now it's just critiquing little things that are a little more specific for Bill.
And how did the Bill Algeo matchup come together for you? Was it someone you specifically requested or just who the UFC offered?
It was really just who the UFC offered. I was looking for Cub Swanson. I tried to get him on the Toronto card, and then I guess Cub had to get some back surgery and stuff. But yeah, I'm definitely excited about the Bill fight. He's my last two fights. I was kind of fighting up and comers, kind of prospect guys, whereas Bill's a little higher ranked. Again, kind of what I was looking for in Cub as well. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited for this fight. I think it's a good matchup for me, and it'll help me start to climb the ranks.
Yeah, like you spoke about in the stylistic matchup, the stance. I think I heard you speaking about in the past about Padilla's, boxing centric nature. Now you're dealing with a guy in Algeo that's going to give you switch stances, kicks from multiple angles, and he's got the wrestling and kind of a weaponized cardio that we've seen in some of these matchups. Now, given that, I don't want you to give away your game plan, anything like that. But speaking to your own cardio improvements, have you found that making any changes in your camp or anything recently that's kind of given you more of an advantage in the cardio, making any easier weight cuts? I think I might know the answer here, but I'd like to see what your thought is.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we made a few adjustments with my weight cuts, and that's kind of helped me carry my training camp cardio into the octagon. I've always had good cardio, and I've always worked on my cardio. Just yeah, there was a few missteps with my weight cuts and stuff that I still performed really well. Like all my skills and everything was there for the first round. It was just once we got to that second and third round, the body just didn't respond anymore. So we've addressed all those. So now my cardio is not going to be a problem, and I'm going to be able to keep the same kind of skill set and output that I've had in all my other fights.
That's great. Really looking forward to see those continued improvements play out for you as it goes along. Um, The next question, like, say this matchup goes well for you, who are you looking in to calling out next if you win this fight?
Yeah, I mean, I'd still love to get the Cub Swanson fight. So I'm not sure where he's at as far as his back surgery and stuff. But I mean, hopefully that all went well, and hopefully he'd be ready to fight, in the summer or something like that. It'd be a good turnaround for me. If not, outside of that, I mean, really anybody the UFC wants to give me. I did have Nate Landwehr in mind, but I believe he's fighting on the same card now. But yeah, there's lots of guys in the 145 division that are, I think, close to me, kind of in the middle of the pack right now. That I want to pick a few more off before I start climbing up to the top 15.
What is it about the Cub Swanson fight that intrigues you so much? Is it the name? Is it Cub Swanson the legend? Like, what is it, a matchup thing?
Yeah, so definitely, obviously, a name, a guy that I kind of grew up, watching him fight. He's also, I mean, one of his more recent fights was against another Canadian, and I think that was a very close fight. So I'd love to get that one back for Canada. And yeah, I mean, he's got the name, he's got kind of the ranking, he's been up there with the best of them, and I think it'd be a great way for me to kind of really solidify that I'm here and I'm climbing the ranks. I'm not just gonna hang out and be like a gatekeeper for guys getting into the UFC, but I am looking to climb the ranks and take on some of the guys that have been here for a while.
Yeah, I mean, you've come along in your last two fights here, I mean, especially, right? You've prevailed as a sizable underdog. I'm not sure if you look at those things or anything like that, but us as fans, it's something we absolutely are forced to look into, whether it's by other people in the media or simply put, the gambling market, right? How do you feel about like defying the odds or defying other people's expectations of you?
It does. Like the people closest to me, like my training camp and my family and stuff, they all believe in me, and that's all really I care about. As far as like the odds and stuff, it's usually better if I'm the underdog, because then people message me and they say they make a bunch of money on me and stuff like that. So it's almost better to be the underdog, and I'm sure I'll be the underdog in this fight. And I think I've probably been the underdog in most of my fights, if not all of them. So, and yeah, it doesn't really affect me at all.
That's the mindset I like to hear, and that's you got heart, man, and it shows in the way that you fight. So I think that's why you are an exciting fighter, and I think that's why everybody likes to see you fight.
Definitely. So in camp, I know you mentioned the awesome different partners you've been getting to work with. Is there anyone up and coming that you've been working with in the gym that you want to give a shout out to, guys to keep an eye on going forward?
Yeah, I mean, like I train with a lot of people at House of Champions and Niagara Top Team, and then there's other UFC fighters at Niagara Top Team, like Jazz Divisius and Mike Ballot, and then Deanna Belbitsa at House of Champions, and we're getting a good group of people coming up, starting out in the amateurs. We got one of our training partners, Sierra, is going to be fighting, I think, this Friday. I think it's for LFA, just over the border, so it's like Niagara Falls, New York. But yeah, Sierra Dinwoody, I think she's going to do really well. She's a great. I think she's fighting at 135. But yeah, definitely watch out for her. You'll probably see her in the UFC soon.
Awesome. Can't wait. Really looking forward to it. So I know we've talked a little bit about the matchup, about what you've been doing in camp, but what are some of the things that you really like to do when you aren't training? What is Kyle the Monster Nelson enjoying his off time?
The person, not just the cage fighter.
Yeah, so I mean, like I like hunting and fishing and stuff like that. The more time I can spend with my kids and the family, the better. Recently, me, my sons, and kind of my fiance, she was on the fence. She's not a big fan, but we got some chickens, so we're looking after some chickens now. Got my fiance like a beehive, like a beekeeping kit. So we're gonna get into that this summer. We're gonna try and get a cow, maybe a donkey. So yeah, just kind of working around the house, spending time with family, and kind of starting up our own little homestead farm kind of thing.
So Kyle the Farmer Nelson instead of Kyle the Monster.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's
we
great.
like that.
So I have a question talking about the nickname now. I'm very much into giving people nicknames if they don't have one on this show, but I really like your nickname. Was there a reason that you came up with the monster? Did someone else give that to you? I'd love to know.
It was just kind of one of those things, like around training rooms. When I was coming up, I traveled a lot to train because I was from a small town, and it was just after training sessions, like we'd all be sitting around, talking and stuff, and it was always like, "Oh man, you're a machine," or "You're a monster," or something like that. And the monster kept popping up no matter where I went and trained, and I think it helped. Like the contrast between me, outside of training and fighting, and me when I do train or fight. I feel like the monster kind of really, obviously people kind of already thought it anyways, so it just stuck.
That's awesome. I mean, because you don't exactly strike me as some mean monster's personality. You strike me as a nice guy, so I can see where that dichotomy might come in when you're an animal in the training room, you're a monster in there.
Yeah.
So the fishing and the hunting, is there something specific you like to hunt and fish, or I mean, obviously fish in general, but
Yeah, I mean hunting, like more so white-tailed deer. That's what I've done most of my hunting with. But as my son gets older and as my fiance's getting really interested in hunting, we're going to try and expand it a little bit. So this year, we're going to try and go out, try and get bear hunting, maybe turkey hunting. See if I can get a turkey for Thanksgiving, and and then just again white-tailed deer. The more I'm kind of vocal about my interest in hunting, I've been getting a lot of messages from people in the States and all over Canada and stuff, kind of inviting me to come and hunt with them. So that'd be awesome too if I could travel around a little bit and get a little vacation and get to hunt some different animals and stuff.
Did you
So
grow up hunting? Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. It was kind of tied into this. I know Tanner
Sure.
Bozer, another Canadian fighter, also hunts. Did you grow up hunting, and also do you use the meat? Like, do you eat the venison as part of your weight cuts? I know that was something that Tanner Bozer did as well.
Yeah. So I grew up, I think I was at the hunt camp when I was like 4 or 5 until, now obviously. And yeah, like I eat the meat. It's all, I mean, it's great meat, super lean. And then, yeah, I mean, it's perfect. It saves a lot of money. And I want to get a little bit into kind of butchering it and stuff so I can do everything on my own. But yeah, I would definitely, my sons love the meat and my fiance and stuff. So it's kind of perfect.
That's awesome. So, also in your off time, I know you got to keep it tight for your weight cuts, but do you enjoy any libations? Any drinks? Do you enjoy smoking anything? I don't know what the legality is. I'm curious what else you enjoy doing in your off time.
Yeah. So, I mean, like Fight Camp Light Lager, my beer with New Ontario Brewing,
Oh,
that's my go-to if I'm ever, watching some fights or something or having a poker night. That's my go-to. And I think it's only available in Ontario right now. We're still working on some of the logistics to try and, get it transported around a little bit. But yeah, just really beer. I haven't even tried smoking anything yet. So, keeping everything kind of super clean for now as in my career and stuff. But yeah, just some beers. And then of course, pizza and stuff. I definitely enjoy some food too.
hold the phone. I'm a big craft beer guy. I have on the Untapped app. I always log my beers. Are you telling me you brew beer? You brew beer? You have your own beer? Did I hear that?
Yep. Yeah. So I have my own beer. So I don't do too much. And we talked with flavors and stuff and kind of came up with this this beer. So we call it a Fight Camp Light Lager. It's got a picture of me on the side of the can and my logo and stuff. And it's been going really well. We started it. We released it in September of last year, and we sold out our first batch. And we just finished brewing a new batch. I think it was the beginning of this month, so it's available in Ontario. And I plan to try and pack some and bring them with me down to the fight. So
I was about to say, you got to bring some to the fight, man. I have to find you somehow and taste some. I need to try some of that. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'll try and see how much I can get down, and then message me at the fight. We'll see what we can do.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. Here, I got somebody sending me a picture of it right now.
Oh yeah, perfect.
Zach
I
from
was gonna say,
4 Ounces of Freedom has some.
what a great guy. I'm gonna try to bring it up here. I found the website, so I'm gonna bring up the fight camp, New Ontario Brewing on your favorite app, Guru, Untapped.
I
So
would love it. Yeah, see, I'm telling you that app is awesome.
yeah,
So
so let's get a little zoom in here. This is where you can at least, like, if you're gonna drink your beers, like Guru was talking about, people can go ahead, rate the beer. It shows how much total percent alcohol. They got a picture of the can. There's Mr. Look at that clean trim on that one too. It's a little shorter
handsome.
beer than we're seeing now. This is the winter version we're seeing. So
Yeah.
uh, I really, really like what we're seeing here. Make sure you guys check out Fight Camp, New Ontario Brewing, if you are in the area looking to expand soon. I love that. So
That's fantastic, man. So what are your favorite things to eat? If it's not the venison that you're hunting, right? So what are
Yeah.
some of your favorite things to eat? Not in
Uh,
camp.
so again, obviously, yeah, like the venison. I started making my own jerky. So I've started with like beef jerky. And again, the plan is to start working into some deer jerky and some stuff like that. And then maybe start smoking some meats and stuff. But yeah, I mean, like if it's a quick, like we're going out or doing something, I mean, pizza is definitely one of my go-tos. Um, it just got everything in one spot, you know. Other than that, you know, there's a couple, like there's a local restaurant in my hometown called Moose Delaney's, and they make a great steak. So I love to stop by there for, say, you know, some steak and mashed potatoes and stuff. Yeah, yeah, try and keep it as clean as much as I can. I'm not too big on like cakes and ice cream and stuff like that, but
No
sometimes
sweet tooth.
sneak it in.
No sweet tooth. No sweet tooth. You're more the savory on the savory
Yeah,
side.
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
That's fair.
nice.
Listen, hey, if we run into you and we get that beer, I'm buying you a slice of pizza and you can't say no. So
Perfect.
that's how that will go. TB,
That's a
anything
good
else to ask
negotiation.
our friend?
No, I was gonna say, listen, I know it's not legal to do so on your own fights or anything like that, but do you ever take part? Do you ever gamble? We do generally do a gambling breakdown show, so
That's
we
true.
will break down your fight coming up as well. And can't wait to. But do you ever bet on any of the fights, or I don't know if you're allowed to, but do you ever go to the casino, anything like that?
Yeah, so I used to bet on the UFC fights. Again, now we're not supposed to, like, I'm not allowed to bet on the UFC fights, and I don't know, like my friends and family aren't supposed to either. But yeah, like before, even if I put like a buck or two, just like sometimes watching the undercard, maybe it's fighters I don't know, but you know, maybe I throw a buck on, or I play with some of the weird odds, because sometimes you can, you know, put 10 cents on a knockout in like the fourth round by whatever, and you can win like $5. So sometimes I'd play around with it just like that, just for the fun of it. But never really got too big into gambling on fights. I'm horrible at picking fights. I do some predictions every now and then, and I know sometimes people send me like my record for the year or something, and it's usually pretty bad. So yeah, I wouldn't take any of my betting advice.
Hey, listen, we'd love to have you on to break down some fights, man. So anytime. But do you watch any other sports other than fighting?
Not really. Like my dad's pretty into like he watches a bit of hockey and a bit of NASCAR. My brothers are really into football, so sometimes when we're all hanging out, like we all like to get together, do like a family dinner every Sunday, and so there's usually some sort of football on. So I see bits and pieces here, and they're pretty into it. But yeah, I don't really follow it. When I watch it, it's cool to watch, but yeah, I don't pay too much attention to it.
Music? Any favorite music?
I'm pretty big into country music. So like right now, I was like Zach Bryan's pretty huge right now. Anthony Oliver band. You know, he kind of just came out, kind of hit the scene with his song. So I kind of stick with that kind of genre, but you know, then sometimes I'll mix it up with like some 2000 like kind of punk rock, just for like nostalgia, and to switch it up from the country every now and then.
Hell yeah. Gotta figure out something to walk out to, right, in Atlantic City. So I'd imagine something, maybe you go.
Yeah, so I got my a local guy from Huntsville actually wrote me a song, and he's more of a country singer. So he wrote a song called Hard Man, and that's a song I walk out to every fight. So it's Hard Man by Paul Legendike. And yeah, so he was kind of telling me when he was writing it, he had me in mind, and kind of asked me a few things, and then came up with this song. And I think it's kind of a pretty good representation of myself, almost similar to when Matt Hughes used to walk out to "Country Boy Can Survive" by Hank Williams. This is kind of my version of it.
I love it. I love it. Well, Kyle, you've been so generous with your time. Now it's our turn to ask you. We're going to bring it up full screen so that we can do a proper edit for you. If you got any sponsors, anybody special in your camp or anything like that you want to shout out here?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, my training partners, and my coaches at House of Champions and Muskoka Martial Arts. My fiance, she's been instrumental to, all these last few training camps and this one. My kids, Corbin and Griffin, and my soon-to-be son, Knox, should be here just before my fight. And then, my sponsors. So, Moose Delaney's, the Sport Lab, Sheath Underwear. Who else we got? We got GBS, Food Services, River Bowl, Shoeless Joe's in Hamilton. We got an electrical company that's sponsoring me out of Huntsville. But yeah, you head over to my all my social media and stuff. They're all tagged in that stuff, and give them a like. And then if you get the opportunity, make sure you try Fight Camp Light Lager.
I love it. Now, Kyle, the last thing we're going to ask you, I need you to cut a promo for your fight coming up. Let the people know what's going down and how it's going to happen. Kyle the Monster Nelson.
Awesome. Yeah. So tune in March 30th. You're going to see a TKO in the second round. I'm going to set it up with body shots, and then we're going to put Bill Algeo to sleep.
Let's go. Kyle the Monster Nelson, Guru, take us away, and let's let this man get back to the rest of his day.
Kyle, seriously, thanks so much for your time, man. Hope to run into you in Atlantic City. Guys, make sure you're following him. Make sure you go check him out. Make sure you support on March 30th. We're going to be rocking out with the Monster. We're back tomorrow with our breakdown show for UFC Mexico City. Take care, and we'll see you then. Be safe out there.